All right. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'll be telling you about my company, QuantMD, which I founded in January 2012. Let me start with a little background on myself. I'm the founder and CEO. I'm currently an assistant professor with Carnegie Mellon's Electrical and Computer Engineering Department. In My research program is a direct embodiment of what QuantMD is. Let me start. QuantMD is a healthcare company with the solution for software as a service image processing. And our goal is to support the use of preoperative image data in the operating room to guide procedures, namely cardiovascular procedures and primarily electrophysiology cardiovascular procedures. Okay. So our business is to deal with the biggest data there is, namely medical images. Apparently 665 terabytes of data will be collected in 2015 by each hospital in the healthcare system in America. These images are reviewed for less than 5 minutes per case by physicians or radiologists, as the case might be, depending on the complexity of the images. And they can do a whole lot more in disambiguating decision making for diagnostics, as well as guiding therapeutic action in the operating room, which is not done today. And we can facilitate this by fusing the vast amount of data there is, not only which is structurally accurate, but also functional imaging in order to accuracy of procedures and hopefully benefit outcomes. All right. So what is QuantMD? We're a big data company. We have a suite of software solutions, and our business is in biomedical engineering with clinical application. How do we operate? We operate by software as a service, and we call our software as a service offering, which is now in process of being FDA 510K cleared, so that we can offer this service to hospitals in addition to the medical device companies we already service and gain revenue from. And we call it Easy Renew. It has potential to be a high margin business because we process image data, and there are already companies out there which identify with the offering that we have as being unique. Our IP is primarily licensed from CMU and PIT. We have CMU only IPs, PIT only IP, co-owned IP, as well as some of our own, all licensed into the company and executed agreements. Okay, so Easy Renew for electrophysiology or EP guidance involves 3 strategic partners. A, the people who get the images, the radiology departments, okay? And by the way, there is already money being spent in this space to improve image-guided surgeries, and there are image-guided navigation platforms by St. Jude Medical, Biosense Webster, and Medtronic, and there have been recent acquisitions in the space as well. But anyway, as a company offering solutions to support this kind of industry, we need to interface with the radiology departments. We need to interface with surgeons who will use our solutions to improve their surgical guidance. And we also need to partner with OEMs who make image-guided surgery platforms. And one of those image-guided surgery platforms is one that QuantMD owns. We own this company called Epicardial Frontiers, and essentially it's co-owned by another company in Pittsburgh, and we have a legal partner as well to handle our IP. And we have an embodiment of a solution to provide image-guided surgery, which I developed again. It's serviceable and completely compatible with QuantMD's offering. So who's the team? So I've already introduced myself. Dr. David Schwartzman is an early adopter and a consultant with QuantMD, equity holder in both QuantMD and Epicardial Frontiers, the hardware embodiment of our solution. Ganesh Mani is our business advisor. He has prior experience in this particular space, and one of his companies is still on the New York Stock Exchange in the area of second opinion for mammography data reading. Daniel Ludwig is the interface between me and Dr. Schwartzman, as well as other clinical experts, who allows my lingo to be understood by the clinicians. And we've been effectively doing this for a number of positions now. And we now recently have a part-time quality expert who has been fronting our FDA 510K and quality system implementation inside QuantMD, Brad Runyon. He's done 51 PMAs for different companies, including Medtronic and a whole lot of others in the image-guided surgery space. Okay, On the side of Epicardial Frontiers, and this is the company that will embody the hardware plus software solution which we're going to sell. Okay, just FYI, I'm giving this up front, and QuantMD will continue to service the sold entity. But on Epicardial Frontiers, we have Mark Gartner as the president, who's also the president of Encion, and the BLK Law Group is a partner in Epicardial Frontiers and handles all our patenting, licensing, etc., etc. The development is completely supported by my research group, which I have a PhD student, a number of master's students, and we have collaborating clinicians adopting this technology in the US, India, China, Europe, and recently South Africa. Essentially, just to give you an idea of the adoption and the fact that the scientific community is accepting it, since the time I was in, I transitioned as an assistant professor, I've had 25 journal publications in top clinic, and about 11 of them are in clinical journals. All right, so let's get into the value proposition and why we do what we do. Okay, so surgeons currently rely on the mind's eye in order to guide medical devices and targeted therapeutics into patients in the operating room when they are the surgery. And this mind's eye involves using their clinical knowledge that they've learned over the span of their 17 years of training in the case of an average electrophysiologist, but it's generally flying at night. Now, image guidance can help with targeting a device to the right place, because currently they use fluoroscopy guidance and they don't see, in this example, a heart or anything. They basically see their devices and kind of navigate it. Now, one of many that we could support, cardiac resynchronization therapy or pacemaker lead implantation, involves a significant amount of fluoroscopy time exceeding 20 minutes, and you still have to feel your way through, and only about 30 to only about 60% or so, or 60-70% of people respond to therapy. The rest of them have wires, and those wires do nothing for them. So despite a bunch of procedures being successful in regard to the patient living after the operation, only about 60 to 70 patients out of every 100 respond to therapy. Now, this is the case for other procedures as well. Image guidance can help because you can see better. You'll be able to see more than what you can see from the fluoroscopy screen, and therefore reduce complications, which are in plenty, and also reduce excessive fluoroscopy to maybe a fifth of the time, or maybe even zero once we've had enough clinicians adopting it and believing in. Where is the data that we start with coming from? It starts with preoperative image data, our pipeline, and this is acquired in machines like this one, like a CT scanner, an MRI scanner. Now I've started using 3D transesophageal echocardiography, which is like an ultrasound machine which you can carry around. And all of them generate volumetric image data. Okay, and we're agnostic to the source or the organ image, and we basically take this data from the picture archiving and communication system of hospitals. No added requirements of imaging here. Standard imaging is what we start with, and then we do our magic. So let's say, but there's so much data, right? How do we make all these image data come into the operating room and become useful for the surgeon when he needs to be doing something very complicated? We have IP for image fusion. Okay, so we take functional image data, which means it is not anatomically accurate, but it tells you about some functional aspect of the heart, or in this particular example, wall thickening of the heart. And then you take CT data or 3D ultrasound data, which is actually very structurally accurate, and then fuse it in a manner that will allow you to see them both in the same place. And this is also, a small part of what I teach at Carnegie Mellon. I'm the course instructor of 2 graduate courses in Carnegie Mellon on medical image processing. This is something we understand very well, and I also teach. Now, image processing for cardiac resynchronization therapy is presented in this particular example, but is applicable to other procedures, including the lariat procedure for closing the left atrial appendage, which is used as a form for atrial fibrillation treatment, and many other treatments which are sub-xiphoid pericardial access treatments. But essentially, we take image data, we fuse it in this novel way, and come up with this result that can actually be pumped into standard image guidance platforms, as well as, of course, our own image guided platform, and then brought into the operating room to guide a procedure in real time. So let's go back to our stakeholders again. Radiologists is the one who meets the patient, gets image data, okay? He schedules and registers a patient inside the QuantMD system, Easy Renew, and the image data is then transferred into our system where we process it using our novel IP-based methods. These data and results, the fused results, are reviewed by the going to operate on the patient. That's a preoperative planning stage where they interact with the data on a cloud in real time, an iPad, and there are several other embodiments. I've used it on my iPhone before. And then after that, you can take your data and put it into the operating room in standard image guidance platforms, be it Carto or Navix or Epicardial Frontiers system. Okay. Now, this whole software as a service workflow that you're seeing on the screen is what we are trying to get FDA cleared so that we can service not only physicians but also the medical device companies we're already doing under the brand of a 510K cleared workflow. Okay, and in this process we create jobs because these systems require people to operate the image processing, or not really operate, so to speak, but monitor the image processing activities, and also there will be some post-market surveillance and customer support that will be create jobs in the region. So Epicardial Frontiers is the hardware plus software that will allow you to kind of do GPS navigation of the human heart while you have a procedure. And so instead of seeing the stuff that you see on the left-hand side of the screen, which is just plain Jane X-ray or fluoroscopy, you'd be seeing a 3D model, and that little green thing there in this example is a medical device that is positioned in the heart, actually, and you can see it moving into the right position in the heart in real time. And in this example of pacemaker lead implantation, which again is one of many applications I'm going to keep harping on that because it's likely that potentially the lariat procedure, or another one, would be our first procedure once FDA approved and we're servicing hospitals. But essentially, this is what you can see in regard to a pacemaker lead implantation on a human heart, which is that shadowy thing out there. Whereas what we can see with our system, and this is within the Epicardial Frontier system, and you can see that the device is implanted in a specific location as indicated by the purple target along a coronary vein, all of which are invisible in current fluoroscopy. So the value proposition is quite clear, right? We enhance value of ability, or in terms of the ability to get to a target using real-time guidance. And this comes up on a big screen inside the operating room, and a patient would lie on that operating room, and that's where you'd see this data in real time. So we're better than existing systems in terms of the hardware as well, not only in terms of the image-guided surgery and the image fusion, because we can make any device, not just a Medtronic device, appear on a Medtronic system, but any device appear on our system. This is our own catheter device, which is IP for Epicardial Frontiers, incidentally. I think a Medtronic device, and we can make any device appear in our system in real time, and you not only see a little point where your surgical system is, but you can actually see the device in virtual space co-registered with your patient while you're doing it. We've done many animal tests, in fact 3 sets of animal tests, and some human trials as well, which have also gone. So what do we do with this company, and how do we eventually get out of this, get out with some money? Well, we sell Epicardial Frontiers, okay, in terms of the hardware and the servicing aspect, and we'll retain the ability to service Epicardial Frontiers' image-guided surgery requirements through QuantMD. So QuantMD remains ours, and we sell Epicardial Frontiers, which embodies the hardware and the software inlet for us to continue servicing image-guided surgery. And we can potentially also service all these other companies who could be potentially interested in image fusion technologies, who we are currently approaching and keep calling us, but we are trying to figure out a way by which we can make a mutually sensible deal. So if this triangle represents fluoroscopic image-guided surgery as a market, okay, there are image fusion-guided cardiac procedures doesn't exist, but then let's say we create a small part of that market. But non-fluoroscopic image guidance does exist, and there are several players in that market. Now, we try to make these guys start using image fusion, then we have clients in terms of servicing revenue from QuantMD. And in terms of a sale for Epicardial Frontiers, there are a bunch of companies which have medical devices that have, don't have image-guided surgery involved with their systems, and we are already approaching some of them in regard to how we can sell Epicardial Frontiers and retain the servicing angle of the problem. So in a nutshell, we offer better targets for improved outcomes, reduced radiation exposure, and are compatible with all existing surgical navigation systems for non-fluoroscopic guidance, and have our own as well. We don't require any field clinical expertise to use this system, and there's no additional capex in terms of image acquisition or anything. In fact, since all of this data is processed on the cloud and always remains up to date because it's serviced on the cloud. We understand the pre-market notification pathway very well. In fact, we have experts and we have a quality system in place in QuantMD now. And we believe that we will have the ability to build on existing ICD-9 or CPT codes eventually. And there are precedents for this kind of thing in neurosurgery already. And our FDA expert, who has done 27 PMAs on Medtronic and a total of, I think, 51 PMAs, is guiding us through this process. So I'm reasonably confident about this happening successfully. So once we have, this was our pipeline which I chalked out in January or mid-January, and we were hoping to get a small business qualification to be recognized by the FDA as a small business, which does not need to pay as much to get notifications done. And we did qualify. The FDA, we have a contact in the FDA, a few contacts in the FDA who are guiding us through this process as well. We know that we're going to do a 510K for this software as a service workflow. And then, after that, once we have some approval, we're going to try to be servicing hospitals rather than the medical device companies that we have. And then, you can make n number of financial projections based on the number of hospitals you can acquire and number of cases you will do per hospital. But then eventually everything needs to be made sense of, and that will be in terms of the number of minutes that you take to process a case with some quality metrics, and we've modeled that, all factored that as well in our financial model, which I'll be showing you the results of very shortly. We could build this on a contractual basis for a number of cases a year, or a per case basis, and the client would turn from a medical device company who understands that image guided surgery can improve their outcomes or improve patient selection that might improve their reporting statistics, or a hospital that buys into this idea. Medical device companies that we service include this one company called Cardiokinetics Inc., which is based on, and this particular study helped them understand why their device works in some patients as opposed to others. And they sent us an Excel sheet where they had like 40 other places that they tried and nobody could do this for them. This paper has been submitted to Cardiovascular Interventions journal now and is under review. And we're trying to get business from heart pump companies as well in regard to optimal placement of devices and things like that. So consulting revenue will continue on the side, but excluding consulting revenues and only including the one, let's say one specific electrophysiology procedure, let's say the Lariat procedure or pacemaker, doesn't matter, the reimbursements are similar, then you would be able to model, considering the requirements of image processing support staff, growth in terms of acquisition of centers that we service, a positive revenue within the third year. And so, I mean, this Excel sheet is available on demand for anyone who's interested. So with that, I'll conclude. We understand the stakeholders involved. We understand the regulatory process involved. We need money to support a sales force eventually once we get the FDA clearance. And in all, we will improve the healthcare delivery model for image-guided procedures by hopefully reducing readmissions, improving outcomes, and reducing fluoroscopy time with innovative technology. Thank you.